All right. Tuesday, September 16th, Park Board meeting will call to order at 9 a.m. Can we have a roll call, please?
Barry,
Here.
Steve,
Here.
Brad, Brad,
Here.
Corey,
Here.
Chris,
Here.
Shanda, Shanda, okay, Shanda's absent.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Oh, now we got you.
Okay.
Shanda's
Yep, I'm here.
All right. We have a quorum. We will proceed. Item B, approval of minutes of August 19th.
Move to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Brad seconds.
All right. Thank you. Moved and seconded to approve August 19th Park Board minutes. Any deletions, corrections, or comments? Discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Barry,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Brad,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Bo,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Shanda,
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Item C, financial update, please.
Financials are in your packet. If there's anything any specific things you want to touch on, I can gladly go through them. Otherwise, they are as presented.
Any questions or anything for the budget, finances? Okay, moving on to new business. Community building at Blacktail.
All right, if you go the first page past the finance documents, kind of has some green lines across it, a couple other colors. It says JLG on the top. That's a budget summary. We have that's their budget estimates, and we haven't done any of their value engineering yet. But that's our estimates. We first kind of the scheme A, as it's titled, is a wood building, and then scheme B is a metal building. We actually had these numbers pretty close to this a couple months ago, and then we found out about a local guy that does metal buildings, and thought maybe he might be able to come in with a number that was less, because we were really surprised. I guess maybe I should be. That's not the accurate number. The one on the screen. Yeah. We're kind of surprised that metal building is so close to the price of that stick building. We thought there'd be kind of a little bit more of a discrepancy. So kind of surprised by that. So we found a local builder and worked with him pretty extensively to kind of like, if he was the guy and he built it all himself, and what could we get it at, thinking we'd be able to get that price down, and we really didn't. We're really surprised by that. So currently, that's the numbers they sit at. If you scroll through and look, they got some diagrams. First one kind of shows the location of where it would be at, which would be on the southwest of the group campsite, and it shows it a little closer there. And this next page where the roof is kind of a yellow. If you look over to the right there, that's the amphitheater right there. Oh, yeah, the yellow spot right now shows where the community building will sit. As we move right now, with everything else with construction, we're doing things in mind with this being built, as far as utilities coming there and grading it and being ready for that. Like I said, that shows the location. If you want to go to the next slide, it kind of shows just a closer look at the location of where the footprint is. And then if you go on, at the next page, it shows the floor plan for again, this is for that stick building and what it would look like. We're sitting at about 1,000 square feet of assembly area, of the area where we'll meeting space or whatever. So yeah, this is kind of what that building looked like. Pretty functional, not a lot to it. Right now, with the plans that it would be have the ability to be a year-round building. Yeah, so like I said, this is the stick building. If you want to keep moving forward on the slides, there's kind of some renderings of what it would look like. I don't know that it'll be blue, but and then some inside. Then if you keep going, so this is the metal building. Again, floor plan size about or square footage about the same. All the same amenities, just a little bit of a different design. If you want to go to the next slide, and then it's kind of what it would look like on the outside. Both the buildings feature like service windows to the outside, whether, you know, so if we were having an event or a concert, we'd be able to serve food outside. Both of them have bathrooms that are accessible inside and outside. Just to add extra bathrooms, again, if we're having an event. Right now, we're looking at about 40 parking spots, paved parking spots for this. And then we also do know we have identified areas for overflow parking, because we know there definitely could be times when it would be more than that 40. Otherwise, as far as the building goes, the sheet I handed out today, which is really small print, you need your glasses, but that sheet kind of shows where we are budget wise. It has that $1.6 million number in there as far as for the entire master plan budget. You know, I guess the building is, as the original plan was done by WSB. There wasn't a building. It was an alternate. It was never a part of the plan. It was an alternate to consider. And I think personally, I think it's a valuable asset we could have. But I also see that it's not free. It's not cheap. It costs money. I think the advantages to it are, you know, other than the obvious of having a meeting space for activities during the summer at campground, you know, at the campground. I think the other thing is that it gives us the opportunity to potentially provide some more things in the winter. Which is, you know, the one thing that came to mind that we did, you know, first couple years we did our ice fishing derby at Coda Ray, and it was great and we loved it. And I'd gladly do it there again. But the last couple years we did it at Blacktail, and it was great because we had an opportunity to go inside in case it was closed. And people could come in and get warmed up, and we could prepare the food and do everything inside, which made all that a lot easier. So my recommendation is that we keep moving forward and keep staying under budget and get this building built. But I also know, like I said, this is a decision that I think that this group needs to make, because, like I said, it wasn't originally in the master plan. It was an alternate to that.
So you said that it's in here already?
It's represented in that number. If you look on the yellow line, Blacktail Dam building, you know, it's broken out by 3 different cost prices. You can see that's how much J.E. Dunn would get. That's how much the architect, and then other things like tables and chairs and security system and things along those lines.
Just a quick comment. If we continue with this and approve this building, I have a great name for it, and I think it should be called City Hall.
I like the way you think.
I
like the way you think.
Yeah.
So the fire hall, was that owned by the park board? The old one that
Yeah,
it was? Okay. Yeah, that's a number that I was kind of surprised to see. I mean, we're at 1.7-ish, you know, gross.
And is that the stick built?
that's the stick built. Yep.
Which looks like they're what, 70,000 apart, stick built versus
Yep.
steel building.
Yep. Yeah. I was surprised that number wasn't more apart. Yeah.
Yeah, the stick-built one. But I'm looking in here, how big a building is this? I didn't have a ruler here to go by the scale, so, I mean, is it like 40 by 80 or 60? Well, yeah.
I guess I'm not sure. Real quick, I could.
Breakout of price per square foot?
Every 1/8 inch is
20
is
2,500
equal to 1 foot.
Yeah,
Well,
we said 2,500 square feet Yeah, about 2,500 square feet. Yeah, not including.
You know, what are the chances of that being utilized as also a rental for wedding receptions or other entities renting it to
That-
utilize that space?
That would definitely be my intention. I would think that we would want to continue our partnership with Blacktail Dam Association for what they do on Sunday mornings. Other than that, I see it as something that we need to rent for family reunions and weddings and any other thing that we can do out there. I think it's, you know, one of the things that in general we don't have tons and tons of is rental space in our community, and I do think it gives another alternative. Now, it's not in Williston, but it is, you know, still in Williams County and an alternative for rental space. But yes, weddings, family reunions, birthday parties, all of that, we would definitely rent it out for all those things.
That, you know,
Okay.
looking at the square foot price, it seems really, I mean, that's more expensive than the school that's being built. So I'm wondering, for a space like this, why it's so much per square foot? That's pretty high. Almost $700 a foot.
Yeah, I'm really surprised by both numbers. Like I said, even the metal building, and even when we went through, the person we went through is a relative of someone who lives out with Blacktail, and he grew up there, and we're like, oh, maybe we can really get a price and it came in right on with the metal building J.E. Dunn had. You know, I know I've been told, you know, the biggest thing is that, you know, even though there's small areas, bathrooms are expensive per square foot, and so are kitchens. And that's almost half of our building. But other than that, I don't know. I'm not great at doing pricing on construction projects.
Jeremy, how close are we to the other bathrooms in that area?
There is at the group campsite, there is a two stall bathroom or a bathroom that has 2 pods. And then
Just-
right.
And those are just vault bathrooms?
Nope, water, showers,
Okay,
showers and running water. Yep.
okay.
So that one would be at that group campsite right there.
I'm just thinking of if it's close enough to utilize those bathrooms, but if it's over 100 yards,
Yeah, no, we need to have bathrooms.
Yeah, if we're gonna discuss renting this, we have to have
Yeah.
bathrooms in it.
yeah,
You know, I
Agreed.
mean,
yeah,
no.
that's too far away. Okay.
So you need a motion from the board to approve this.
Well, and so here's the thing, right? Like, so we'll take J.E. Dunn will take this to bid. If you guys approve us moving forward, J.E. Dunn will take us to bid. But still, even when they take it to bid, the only thing, if you guys approve today, that you are absolutely committing on is that $88,000 for design fees. And then if, you know what I mean? So that's the only thing that we're absolutely committing on today. J.E. Dunn will take the building to bid, they'll go get pricing, they'll come back, and then you'd have to approve that.
So it is possible that, I mean, this is their kind of maximum estimate. I mean, it's possible it could be cheaper, hopefully.
That's our goal.
Okay.
Yep, very much so. You know, and this also, and while I say it's the building, it isn't just the building, it also includes, right, it also includes the concrete and the parking lot. Yeah. It's a little bit more, right, it includes the parking lot and the concrete.
And when they bid that, they'll split that all out. So if we decide to do a gravel parking lot instead of a
Yep, yeah,
paved,
yeah,
we
for
could
sure.
maybe try to not, I mean, because that's a real big number, but I do feel like we tore out the hall that was being used, so we probably need to replace.
Yep, and like I said, I'm with, they need us, they're gonna need one real soon, right? Yeah, I agree. Like I said, it is a big number and it scares me, but I mean, and as I said, right, when we started, we haven't done any of their value engineering and really tried to cut it back and trim it down. And I think that as we go through the design process here, finishing design, we'll identify those ad alternates where we can say, hey, we could do this, but it's gonna cost us this much money. And I think there'll be opportunities to lower that price. I in no way is my goal to build the Taj Mahal. My goal is to build a nice building that's gonna last long, hopefully after I'm gone. Right? That's the goal, to have a nice building that will last a long time. It doesn't have to be the most beautiful thing. It just has to be really functional and gonna last.
So if we commit $88,000 for a design fee and then the bid comes back even higher, or at this, I mean, are we comfortable with moving forward? I mean, if we're not, I'm not gonna spend $88,000, so.
It's CMAR, right?
Yep, yep.
So the number's the number.
What?
The number is the number. I mean, it's not a floating number at this point.
No, it's floating. When J Dunn comes back to us in three or 4 months, they'll have a number, and that will be the number, right? Like that they can't go over. Yeah, the 88,000 though that's the number that it will cost. Yeah. I could probably make that happen.
Okay, looking for a motion to approve or disapprove the design fees to move forward.
I would make a motion to approve the $88,000 to move forward with design fees on a building at Blacktail.
Brad seconds.
Okay, been moved and seconded for approval of design fees. Any further discussion? Discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Steve,
Yes.
Brad,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Bo,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Shanda,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Looks like Williams County Parks Community Building. Is that the same part?
Yep.
Okay, so we're on to E.
On to E, correct.
Okay, discussion items, deed for the Blacktail Dam lots.
All right, I'll let Karen take this.
Morning. Yeah, at the last park board meeting, Attorney Thomas Carlisle, Dan Carlisle, and Greg Zavalny came and made a presentation. Based on their presentation, you agreed to deed sublots 2 and 3 out at Blacktail Dam that are owned by the park board right now to Greg Zavalny. So and the idea was to create a deed that sort of contains some of a little bit of history and the intent in it, really. So I kind of put in the deed, the history of platting, making sure that the lots had access to public roads. Greg's property, which is now 201, wouldn't have had access. And so the idea was for the state and the State Game and Fish and the County Park Board to trade lands. And then apparently the idea was that the land that the Park Board got from the state, it would be part of Greg's purchase of lot 201 out at Blacktail. And that was really the intent expressed by Attorney Carlisle, Dan Carlisle, and Greg Zavalny at the last park board meeting, and so that's what I've sort of factored into this deed. So I wanted to really present the deed for you to look at. You do have a copy of the deed, don't you? Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah. 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 So it gives sort of a history of, why you did what you did at the last park board meeting. So I didn't know what I
We need a
included.
motion to approve and authorize chairman to sign.
Yes, please.
So
And
moved.
also, I'm sorry, Steve. Yeah, just by the way, I did run this deed by Tom Carlisle too, and he said they're all good with it too, so.
Okay,
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Kemp, motion, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Barry, moved and second to approve the deed for the Blacktail lots. Any further discussion? Discussion, roll call vote, please.
Brad,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Bo,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Shanda,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Steve.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
Super, thank you.
Thank you. Master plan implementation update.
All right, just want to give you guys an update kind of on the schedule and where we sit overall. Lookout Park, there's one parking spot that needs to be fixed. because to make it handicap accessible. Um, they have the company that Jay Dunn originally hired has until September 20th to have it completed, and they're really hoping they get it done. If they don't, Jay Dunn's hiring another company. They'll come in and do it, and then they'll have to deal with getting the original company to pay for the new company to do it. Otherwise, that one will be done. Coda Ray, it's a handful of little things. We got to replace a couple trees that died right away, and they have a culvert that got clogged up that that got really filled with water. They're waiting to dry out a little bit. They got to do a little work on. So just a handful of little things until that's completely done. Blacktail is on schedule really well. Plan with Blacktail is to have everything in the entire main campground done this year except for landscaping. Paving crew has been out there for a while. They're doing great, working through. Plan is to have all the trails done. The trail from the campground to the road leading to the beach is complete. Here in the next 3 weeks, the trail around the park will be complete. We do have a couple gangways, bridges that'll go over some low spots that we won't put those in until next spring. But that'll be the last step on the trail. Yeah, like as long as we get a decent construction season here in the next few weeks, everything at Blacktail and like I said, the main campground will be done except landscaping, and then they'll hit that right away in the spring. Then plan is to go to the beach right away and get that next year and get that done. So Blacktail will be done next summer. We will also start this year, closer to the first of the year. Our goal is to get our improvements to Epping Springbrook, to get those bids out, so we can start on that this next year. We're even potentially looking at that entrance road, potentially looking at doing that still this fall, if we can. But we'll see how that goes. And then that leaves the last two parks. Little Egypt, I made it pretty clear to our design team that we need to have that designed prior to March 15th, so we can submit it with our annual management plan to the Corps on March 31st, and then we can hopefully start in 2027. And then we will work through starting next year McGregor. After we get done designing Little Egypt, we'll work through McGregor and get that. So same deal, we can get that bid out and finished in 27. Right now, our goal is to have everything started by 27. Maybe Little Egypt could drag into the spring of 28, and then done. That's kind of where we're sitting. So I'm excited about that plan. I think it's very doable. But just want to kind of update you with where we're going. Just segueing right into Blacktail. I know I talked a little bit about it, but I think we have a couple pictures that we can show from if you haven't been out to Blacktail. Specifically, like I said, they started doing concrete. These pictures are a couple weeks old now, but they started doing concrete. Like I said, if you go through the main campground, you can tell where everything's going to be. It's kind of neat. So yeah, that's right there is kind of you're bumping around all over. All right, so here's an overview of the main campground. That green area is obviously the where they're paving right now, and they're moving through there. After that, they'll come up and work along that pink area, and then finish up in that blue group campsite area as far as paving. You can go to the next slide. And like I said, you can see this is the boat ramp leading out of the boat ramp, and this is a couple weeks ago. So we're already quite a bit further than that. They've already poured slabs for the fish cleaning station and the shelters, and pouring a lot, for all the bathrooms and other buildings. Go to the next slide. Yeah, you can see that's bathroom work there on the bottom right-hand side. Go to the next one. Yep, keep going. Trails should be, yeah. So that's the beginning of the trails going through. It's going to be really nice. I'm really excited. One thing we got to really look at, though, is since we're talking about trails, is a plan to keep motorized vehicles off them. We're gonna invest a lot of money in these trails and we want to be safe. And so far, as we all know, I mean, if you don't, kind of in some ways, it's kind of a free-for-all out there with some off-road vehicles. And we're gonna have to just start reeling that in with some barricades and with some fencing to keep people away. I really am a fan of that wooden split rail fence. I think it looks nice. I think it's appropriate in a park ground. It's my hope that we put a lot of that up in areas, right? We're not trying to keep people out, but we're trying to keep some machines out, and we want to make it clear that we can't have them going through and destroying these trails, or becoming a safety issue when people start walking out there and all of a sudden some four-wheeler comes zipping by. But in the next months, that's going to be more and more of a conversation and a plan with how we want to go about keeping vehicles off our new trails. What I'm really excited about, it's going to be so nice. I mean, really, you can go to the state park and there aren't a lot of trails up here. I mean, there just aren't. And we're going to have over 5 miles of trails at Blacktail, which will be pretty cool. Otherwise, that's it for Blacktail. And then I did mention, I did with the timeline, I also mentioned Coteray and Lookout where we're standing. So I think as far as implementation update, that's all I got, unless you got some questions.
Okay. Any questions for Jeremy? Beth?
Are there going to be benches along the trails in case you get tired, you can sit down?
Well, there already are some, yeah. I guess there already, even like we're going by places that already have benches. But yeah, I'm all in on adding them to make sure you don't have to go too far. But yeah, multiple places already there are that you already stop, you go and they already hit them, but yep.
All right. I just one thought on the vehicle traffic. Is there any way, like at the entrances to the trail, can there be fencing on each side with like a post in the middle? So a stroller will fit through, but four-wheeler not so much.
Right, those things, and then also identify the areas that are, it's not hard to identify them. Go to the areas where they're already using, right, where there's already 2 tracks from them from going through, and going to those areas that are going to cross the trail and put barricades. We've already started to do that with some big boulders, and different things like that. But yeah, exactly right. Just block off those accesses with hopefully shorter parts of fence and try to be smart about it and expand as we need.
Well, and for campers, there should be some type of formal notification of rules and regulations, and that pointed out immediately, because if we nip it fairly early on the first year, word should spread that, just don't bring out the whole gang and plan on riding four-wheeler all through trails.
Yep, in notification, and we have a couple different designated trailheads, kind of like Bo mentioned, that we'll have out there. And we'll have rules and maps and things all along those areas. Also, plenty of signage all over the place that just says non-motorized vehicles only, or non-motorized traffic only.
Wasn't it kind of our thought maybe on that west end where we have that extra property, there's a pasture or something? Were we talking about doing like an ATV park type thing?
Yep, originally in the master plan that was there, that west side that we lease out, that a future spot for some type of ATV course, that's on there, yeah.
I was wondering about that too. I think if you give them a place to ride, then it maybe helps to keep them off the places you don't want them.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, right, and it's not just the off-road things at Blacktail. There's depending on who you talk to, there's a lot of issues, and we could go down that rabbit hole for quite a while as far as underage kids driving and people driving too fast and going by a golf cart that has 7 people on it, and we got baby steps on this thing. We got ways to go.
We've got yin-yangs who, for some reason, bypass the speed bumps and go down in the ditches with vehicles, not four-wheelers. Vehicles, and continually until it's all dirt down in the ditch going by speed bumps. It's just like, what the heck? Just slow down, go over the speed bump.
Yeah, the mayor should address that, but we should have the Blacktail Darwin Awards maybe as well.
Okay, Okay, moving on to item G, parks, or did you kind of touch through all that?
Nope, I'll go real quick.
Signage.
Just a couple things on parks update. Just signage. A thank you to Dennis. Last at the county commission meeting a few weeks ago, talked about putting in signage and changing the speed limit at Coda Ray. It looks great. Dennis did a great job of both sides, walking the speed limit down and then back up. And then also there was another road down there that was just a well site road that was never very well developed. So no one ever thought to turn there. But then this summer they really improved that road, and now it almost seems like that's the way you should go. So Dennis put in a new Coda Ray sign there. So really appreciate Dennis quickly getting those up, and signs are look good. And then the other part of that is Lindsay's been working with the DOT to get signs on Highway 85 pointing to Lookout Park, to identify Lookout Park as a place for people to go, both coming and leaving Williston. Water quality, just want to give you a quick update. Time of year, even as Kelly noticed that her watering issues, having issues, but so are we. More and more places popped up. We got Epping Springbrook finally got put down as a watch, and so did Tioga Dam. Tioga Dam did as well. I have a feeling a lot more places. Yeah, Tioga and Epping just came out yesterday. They just notified. Yeah, I would guess that a lot more bodies of water around here, if they were tested, they would probably come up the same way.
How's the water at Blacktail? There was an advisory,
Yeah, not great. Not great. I would say
but it hasn't gotten worse.
It hasn't gotten worse.
Well, it's actually, well, my wife just gave me a report that it's cleared up. Everything that you could, visually, it's cleared up. It's similar to what it was in July.
Yeah, it's just the cooler weather has helped. One of the things
That and the rain.
Yeah, in the
The
rain.
amount of
One of the
rain.
things that I didn't
Yeah.
know I learned was that when this algae, when it's blooming, obviously that's not healthy. That's when it's bad. But actually, when it's worse is when it's starting to cool off because that's dying. And then when it's dying, that's when it releases the most toxins. So that's why, like right now, when it went from us being real warm to all of a sudden we having these cold nights, that's kind of why it's like amplified all of these in these areas, because it got to its peak as far as growing, and then that fast it started dying off. And like I said, when it dies off, it releases the toxins faster. The Epping Springbrook and the Tioga Dam, both of them, I sent those samples in maybe a week and a half ago. It wouldn't surprise me if we sent those samples in today if they were not registering either of them. Just we've had more and more cool nights to kill that off. It wouldn't surprise me at all. Same with Blacktail. It wouldn't surprise me if we sent in Blacktail samples now and it was all gone. But you still want to be safe, especially, as soon as you say it's all gone, all of a sudden there's one little low area where the water didn't get mixed up good. And so, yeah. Yep. I don't watch after it. They just, water quality just asked me if I could go get a sample and send it in. So one day driving on my way to drive through McGregor, I just popped in and grabbed a water sample and sent it with my samples. I work with the health department in town and the soil conservation district and me. Between the three of us, we kind of take turns. And if there's some other place that isn't a specific property we oversee or go to, we figure out who can go get the sample and send it off.
Jeremy, you've done a lot of work on this, and your observations is it surface runoff from cattle, or what do you anticipate the source of the nitrogen and sulfates and nitrates? And
Both cattle and crops, right? Both cattle and fertilizer from crops.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just where we live. It's what we do. It's our industry, right? So I think that's what it is.
And I see on like Blacktail, you do on the creek are the samples when I was looking at the water
Yep.
samples. So on the inlets is what you're testing for. Obviously, that's where the water's coming from.
So they do water sampling on the inlets and on the outlets, and then they also do lake sampling as well. We do the same thing at Epping. I have two spots that water comes in, one spot where water comes out. I test all three of those, and then I do those every week. And then the soil conservation district once a month does lake sampling, and then the same thing at Blacktail.
And you worked with some of the landowners, like specifically at Springbrook. Are they cooperative? Are they?
I've just recently, the biggest landowner is the Moens that are just there. And I've just recently started to talk to him more and more, you know, because once we, you know, the first step, you know, work downstream. So the first one was the water board has agreed that starting next year, they will lease us that land. So we've eliminated cattle from there. And then the next one down is the Moen family, and they also run cattle. And I've started proposing ideas as far as, you know, barriers, water pumps, different things, fencing, and open-minded. I mean, not all in, right? Because it's still going to cost him some money too. But there is a lot of opportunities for it to get, I think, up to 70% of that money back, depending on what projects he does. But he's the next big landowner, so I've been talking to him.
Okay.
And trying to, you know, he's the next one, and try to get him, what can we do to improve the water there? And then just for us, it's just following Stony Creek up. And
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is building eco buffer, you know, from your either pasture, cattle, all that stuff, just keeping the water clean from, you know, livestock stomping around and hanging out there is a big issue. But one thing I thought too, like for Blacktail, I mean, ag obviously is going to contribute, but there's a lot more fancy lawns and whatnot around Blacktail. I mean, just information like a seminar at this, hopefully a community building, if it works out someday, of how do we apply fertilizers and whatnot in a friendly manner, because if you apply granular fertilizer and you water so much it runs off, that's where it goes. So, I mean, though that type of information, Soil Conservation District obviously could help us with all that, but
Yep. And then also, I mean, Epping doesn't, for the most part, doesn't, but also, you know, septic systems. I mean, there's 120 lots at Blacktail. I mean, hopefully they're all great. Some of them are older though.
No, they aren't all right. No. Yeah. There are those even after they should have been all right, were put in on the wrong side of the cabins and toward the lake. How they got allowed to do that, I don't know, but yeah.
I will say that last year, and I don't want to go too deep into the weeds, but last year, at the very end of the year, we got water samples back, and it was downstream from Blacktail, and it was high in E. coli, and we couldn't figure out why. And so this year we added another, or not we, Soil Conservation District added another water sampling spot directly at the release point of the dam, and then been able to monitor that so you could see. And we did find that, like, even the E. coli issue we found last year was not coming out of Blacktail. It was a property south of Blacktail. So being able to add that other water spot, we were able to eliminate this E. coli issue we were kind of afraid of last year, and then found out that it was south of Blacktail that where the issue was, where there's a drain field that's failing, or a septic that's failing or something. So that was kind of an interesting thing, that just water sampling let us eliminate something as a potential problem. But yeah, we just keep moving forward. The Soil Conservation District does for Blacktail. They have a Facebook page and actually put out a newsletter for Blacktail, the Little Muddy Watershed. So I don't know how they're getting it out, other than I know they've had the Facebook page for a couple of years and they put information on that. But yeah, we keep educating people. And then the last one, I did hand out these couple other sheets. I have camping numbers on there. I have not done a great job forwarding this on this year. So just want to talk about it for just a second. On the very first page, on the very bottom, it's just an overview. It just says what we budgeted and what we've actually done. See, we're quite a bit above budget on our totals. Especially Little Egypt just continues to just be more and more popular. And then there's other sheets here that you can compare. If you want to go to the next pages, it's kind of more of a breakdown that shows how much is paid in cash, how much is paid in. And then I go back to, I think, 2022 on that, because that's when we started using my sites. But just want to give you kind of a quick update. Campgrounds are busy. Saw a big uptick in Epping Springbrook Dam this year. I'm guessing a lot of that is due to Blacktail not being as, I know it's not. I know a lot of people that went there instead. But just want to get that so you could have eyes on it. Otherwise, unless you have other questions, I don't have anything else.
Okay, anybody else have anything?
No.
All right, item H, next meeting, October 21st. If nothing else, good for the order, we'll adjourn. Good job, Jeremy, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Sorry, so there's call number.